What is happening, everybody? Welcome to episode number 21 of the Bards of Gaming podcast, where this week we're going to be discussing the classic Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. But we're not going to be discussing the classic version. We're going to be discussing the version that just came out about a month ago here in 2024. So, this game I have a lot of history with. I've tried playing this game a few times, and finally, after 20 years, I beat it. So before we get into that and my whole, story with this game and my whole journal about this game, I got a couple of quick announcements to make. First of which being, for those of you who follow me on Instagram, for those of you who have been keeping up to date with the podcast episodes, we did a t-shirt giveaway this month of June in 2024. Now, I do apologize in advance if I sound just exhausted. I am. So I've just had a very, very, very long week, so bear with me, and I will lose track of thought a lot during this. So as I caffeinate myself, we're going to announce the t-shirt giveaway winner, and hopefully I can enter a applause track here. But the winner is Albertina. Thank you so much for your submittal of for commenting what your favorite game is, liking, following, and tagging two friends. Those were all of the things that everybody needed to do in order to be eligible to win, and we had quite a few people that were in the drawing. I was actually able to take everybody's names from the Instagram, and I found this free app online. It was like a spin the wheel sort of thing. So I was able to just enter everybody's names that was eligible there. There was an unlimited amount of people I could enter, and me and a couple of buddies sat in Discord and spun the wheel, and I screenshotted the winner. So I will be reaching out to you shortly after this episode goes up, and about, shipping information, size, whatever. So thank you again so much. I am so happy to be able to give this away, and thank you everybody for all of your support and everything. I cannot thank you enough. It's great. But aside from that, now that we've gotten that out of the way, which I feel like I didn't give that enough credit, because this has been building up for a month. I was very excited to do this giveaway, and thank you so much to Aeon Driver and can't remember the other page name, but I will, if I haven't already, send you a thank you message for everybody who also shared my giveaway on their stories and other posts. I really appreciate the support. It means a lot to me. So, yeah, I'm just out here trying to spread the word. But anyway, so aside from that, now to get more into the episode and other things I wanted to announce. God, I am all over the fucking place with this. I cannot keep my train of thought at all focused on anything. I have like my list of short notes written down, and I'm just shooting holes all around it. So we're covering Paper Mario. Albertina was the t-shirt giveaway winner. Also, forgot to announce, Albertina, if you are listening to this, I will also be reaching out to you to invite you onto an episode of the show for your favorite game. So I do have written down what your favorite game was, and I will be going ahead and playing through it, and I will be inviting you on to join me with an episode of the show so we can cover that game in the hopefully near future. But yeah, so that is everything I believe I wanted to announce with the giveaway. Sorry, I keep coming back to it. I just keep thinking of important things. So this is also going to be a solo episode. I don't think I know anybody who has beaten this game, like anybody in my friend group. I've reached out to quite a few people that I usually game with or that I know or have had as guests on the show before. Not a single one of them has either played or beaten this game. So this one's going to be all me. Hope you guys enjoy. But yeah, so I mean, after I've beaten this, I kind of just moved on to Shin Megami Tensei 5. I've also been playing a little bit of the 7 Days to Die update with my friend Ben, who is also going to be joining me on an episode of the show coming up soon. Don't know for what yet, though. There's going to be a few different options with him, either Stardew Valley, Tribes of Midgard, or any one of the many survival games that he and I play. But that's really all I got to announce right now. I would love to do another t-shirt giveaway coming up soon, maybe another month or so from now. Let me know what you guys think about that, in the comments of the episode or on my Instagram. Send me a message, whatever. I love to hear your feedback. And anybody who has reached out to me, as you know, like, I'm pretty quick to respond. I love chatting games with you guys, anybody and everybody. I mean, this podcast, like, the more I do it, the more it just kind of evolves really more into like just my game journal. And I think I like that angle because I seem to like I seem to play games a lot, but I don't seem to beat them a lot. So this since I started this podcast, it has really pushed me to become more of a game finisher. And I really enjoy creating this show because it's a way for me to kind of journal my thoughts and opinions on a game, as well as, give it kind of a rating. And being able to do it on a platform such as this allows me to incorporate my friends into it as well and share this with anybody who cares to listen. So it's fun, but it is also a way for me to just document my personal gameplay. And I don't know, I think that's fun. Like, since the beginning, like, I don't know, I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. I've never been in this for the money. I don't care about doing it for the money. That's not even, I don't make money on this. This is just fun. Like, I just do this for fun. So would I love to be able to do this one day for a living? Who wouldn't? But I have a good job. I like what I do. This is just my personal passion project, and thank you all so much for coming along for the ride. With that being said, I say let's jump into the episode, and if you care to hang around and listen to me ramble my way through another episode of by myself about a game that I love, stick around. See you in there. All right, so this week, as I said in the intro, we are going to be talking about, I am going to be talking about Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door, but I'm going to touch on the classic version from the GameCube. I have not beaten it on the GameCube, so pretty much all the information I'm going to be talking about is from the recent Nintendo Switch port, which I gotta say, was just phenomenal. I mean, I remember, like, I have played through what I thought was a bunch of the original a couple of times, but realized that I have not gotten far in that game at all. But as I start off every episode, I'm going to kind of just say, like, hey, this is the game we're talking about. This is how I found it, whatever. So if if you listen to other episodes, you'll kind of understand the format. However, so I'm all over the place. Oh my god. I'm exhausted. I just worked like 65 hours this week. So, originally, I played this game back in 2004 when it came out. I think I got it for Christmas. It was either Christmas or my birthday. Because, back in the early 2000s, as many older gamers will tend to remember, games you did not get like you have them now. Like, now you can just pay a monthly subscription and have access to hundreds of games at a time. Or you can go on the Steam summer sale that's going on right now and pay $3 for some of the best games in the industry. No, back then it was like, I mean, you could get some stuff out of the, $5 bin at Walmart, or like go down to your local GameStop and get something used. Maybe even go to Blockbuster and get something to rent. But for the most part, if you were going to own a game, especially a new game, you had to wait for a really nice series of allowance, or you had to wait for a birthday or Christmas. But I was 8 when this game came out originally, and yeah, wow. Anyway, so I was young when this game came out, and I believe I got it for either Christmas or my birthday, and I remember loving it. I played it a lot when it first came out, and I put a lot of hours into it, it feels like, but thinking about where I got to at that time, compared to like now that I've actually played through the entirety of the game, I never got very far at all. I made it to the end of the Puny Tree, so like right before you go to the Glitz Pit, you end up, you do chapter 2, which is at the Bogley Woods, and I would always get to the very end of that, and then for whatever reason, just stop. So I don't know if it was because I couldn't figure out where to go next when I was 8 years old, or because I was just, so infatuated with, exploring that world, because it is such a cool world to explore. There's so many secrets and stuff, and we'll get into that later. But yeah, I never got very far. And even a few years ago, I went back and my good buddy Nick, who was on a couple of episodes, he was on the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time episode and the Donkey Kong 64 episode. He's been one of my best friends for 20 years. So he lent me his copy for the GameCube of Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door when I was like 24, and I also had access to a GameCube at that time, and I tried playing through it again, and once again, like 16 years later, I got to that same part and just stopped playing. Like, I would finish the Boggly Woods and just stop playing. I don't understand why. But now the game has come out for the Nintendo Switch, and I picked it up day one, and I beat it. I am so freaking proud to say I finally beat this game. It took me about 36 hours, which I would say is par for what I expected. It's a lot longer than Super Mario RPG, but having come out, 10 years later or after that, I would expect that. So very, very, very good game. Stick around, I'll rate it at the end, but I'm going to start getting into what I like and dislike about the game, starting with the bad. So the first thing that I didn't really care for about this game, and this is kind of nitpicky, and I also might be wrong, but I feel like this has more to do with the original release on the GameCube, but it felt always to me like there was a lot of backtracking, which can be very annoying if you don't have certain badges, which I guess to explain what the badge system is, if you've never played this game, I don't know if the first Paper Mario had this game, but essentially you can equip yourself with certain badges. There's different points that you have as Mario, so that you have your health points, then you have your flower points, which allow you to do special moves, then you have star points, which allow you to do the super special moves, and then you also have badge points. So as you level up, you can choose to increase either your HP, your health points, your flower points, or your badge points. And increasing the badge points allows you to equip more badges that you collect throughout the world. And these badges do a variety of different things. So they'll start with, maybe they'll increase your HP by 5, or maybe they'll increase your flower points by 5, or maybe they give you a special new ability. So like now you can bounce on spiky enemies, or now you can, hit enemies into, like, if you take your hammer, you can hit the front enemy and it knocks the front enemy into all the back enemies. So they do have a lot of different abilities that are great, but that's where the balance comes into play, because you don't level up all that frequently. And that's kind of where like the tiered leveling system comes into play, or tiered difficulty. I think it's great because you have to choose as you level up if you want to increase your health points, your flower points, or your badge points. And there's almost no point in increasing your badge points if you don't have enough flower points to use what those badges provide. And if you upgrade just your badge points and flower points, then you're lacking in your health points. So as you level up and move on with the game, now the enemies do more damage to you, you're more likely to die faster. So it's like you really have to be strategic with how you level up. And I'm getting I'm getting away from myself, but that's okay. So as you level up, I'm just gonna go back to backtracking. So yeah, there's in Rogueport, which is the main town, the main like hub world area of this game. There's a building that you find early on, and it's in East Rogueport, and it's a kind of like a side missions bulletin board, I guess you could say. And you can go there and you can choose to help with people's problems. So, you go there after each chapter of the game, and there's a new list of problems that are available, side missions that are available for you to go complete. And a lot of them just require you to walk to a new area or a place that you've been before, and say find a person or collect an item or whatever, or maybe you have to it's just a bunch of fetch quests. That's really what it is. But some of the rewards from them are really great. Like the one allows you to play one of the mini games in the essentially the casino. So if you decide that you want to go do all of those side missions, at least in the original release, maybe I just never found this, but it felt like there was a lot of backtracking, because in the new release, there is an area that you can find where it's like, it is a hub. Like, it has teleporters to every major region of the game. So, like, you'll have a fast travel point to the Great Bogley Tree or to the Glitz Pit or whatever. And that saved so much time, because I remember playing the original game, like the original release on the GameCube, and there was the one specific mission that I recall is having to go find like the hide and seek Koopa back in the castle from the dragon. I can't remember the dragon's name, but yeah, you had to basically walk through the sewers from Rogueport all the way through the Koopa Town, or Petalburg, sorry, and then back into. No, you don't even have to go to Petalburg. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get my facts straight. So yeah, you go through the sewers, you get to the castle. You have to walk all the way through this castle again, find where this fucking guy is hanging out on a ledge, and then make your way to him. But it's just, there's just a lot. You can't just teleport. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me being nitpicky. I could also be wrong, because maybe that place was in the GameCube release and I just never found it. If that's the case, message me. I will accept defeat. But the next dislike that I have on this list really is just that, at least with the new release, I felt like there were a lot of useless badges, or just badges that I never found a time or place to use. Some of them were like, oh, this will lower your HP, but it'll, boost your damage. And it's like, okay, that's great. I can throw out a hit, but now I can't take one. So what if I miss and, see, like, yeah, so it's like, what if I miss and then all of a sudden this enemy comes back at me with, hitting me tenfold. So it's just some of the ones like that. And then some of the ones were just like kind of goofy, like the sound effects ones, or the ones where you can like kind of turn yourself into Luigi. I thought those were cool, but essentially kind of useless. It's nice that they put those in, but the ones that actually seem to have like potential strategic use, like the ones that alter your combat style, your health points, your flower points, whatever, I didn't use a single one of them. There were even just attack badges that I just did not bother to use, and I made it all the way through the game without ever touching them once. So that was really, I don't know, that maybe that's just me. Let me know again if you guys had your favorite badges or whatever. I would love to hear it. I would love to hear kind of like what your character build essentially was, like what badges did you frequent. And then the next dislike I have, because I only have the 3, so this game really is going to rate quite highly. But the next dislike that I have is just some of the unavoidable encounters, and this kind of ties hand in hand with the backtracking thing that I was complaining about, because I remember, especially with the Bogley Woods, there was heading towards Madame Fleury's house. There were times where some of the monsters or some of the enemies, like, I don't know, I couldn't avoid them. And I couldn't dodge them. I couldn't get out of their way fast enough. And for those of you, again, who don't know this game or haven't played this game, it's very similar to Super Mario RPG. If you're from, the older generation, there are no random encounters. You can see every single enemy on the screen that is going to get into a fight with you. So I think that that's a phenomenal feature. I think more games should do that. But yeah, so there were just some times where you just didn't have enough room to dodge it or get around, because this game takes place, obviously being a Paper Mario, it takes place on a very 2D plane, and sometimes it's hard to gauge, your distance from the enemies, or, maybe exactly where you're standing on the axis that is front to back. But sometimes walking through, you get some of these enemies, like the Koopas that swoop down, or the clouds, or even the rocks that like run at you real fast. Like, it's just tough to dodge them. So I found that to be kind of frustrating, especially when you're walking through or backtracking through an area that you've already completed and you're already so leveled up out of, because now you're stuck in this encounter. You could run away, but what if that enemy runs at you again and hits you? It's fucking annoying. So you might as well just fight your way through it. And then by the time you're done fighting these enemies, you might have lost some HP, but now you're also only getting 1 experience point. So, and when it takes 100 experience points, no matter what, when it takes 100 experience points to level up, it's kind of pointless. So having these unavoidable encounters, kind of annoying. However, the one thing that this game does provide you, and again, I only know this from the new release. I don't know if this was in the original release, but there is a badge that as soon as I found it, I kept it equipped the entire rest of the game. And it is so that if you happen to attack a significantly weaker enemy first, it instantly gets rid of that enemy. You don't have to go into the fight. You don't get any experience for it, but at least you get to avoid that time sink. And even when some fights only take a minute or two, not even, sometimes some fights you can breeze through in like 20 seconds. It's still annoying enough when it happens all the time. But that's, again, just me being kind of nitpicky. Maybe you guys love the combat so much that you've even gone through the pit of, the pit of 100, I think it is. Excuse me, I gotta drink some coffee. But what the hell is that called? The Pit of Trials or whatever? Anyway, yeah, there's like a gauntlet, completely optional thing, like challenge that you can go do, and I guess I might as well just transition to the likes. So to get into the likes now, I thought it was really cool that this game does provide you with a completely optional challenge. Again, cannot remember the name of it for whatever reason, but it's like the Pit of Trials or whatever the hell. It's 100 floors of combat challenges that get progressively more difficult. And I think every 10th floor, there's a chest that you can open up that will provide you with something useful. And I think early on it gives you like a couple of badges, maybe like an HP boost or an FP boost or maybe an attack. But then I think at level 50, it provides you with it's just an automatic upgrade. And now that increases your inventory capacity from 15 to 20, which I don't know about you, but that made me so happy. I wish I knew about that earlier in the game because I didn't really attempt the pit until after I was done with the game. So if I knew about that prior, that would have made the final boss so much easier because I would have been able to just stock up on green mushrooms or something. But yeah, so the Pit of Trials, that's a really cool optional challenge. I'm still actually going for it now. Whenever I get the chance, I kind of turn on my Switch and I'm still trying to fight my way through it and level up and get to the bottom. I want to see what's at level 100, and I'm not going to look it up. So that's cool. And then the next, the first like that I actually have written down is the combat system. I've personally always enjoyed the combat system in Paper Mario's minus the Origami King, because I just think that it's so simple, yet at the same time challenging and very engaging. You can't put it down. Like, if you've never played Super Mario RPG or any of the Paper Marios, the combat system, it's a turn-based strategy, or it's a turn-based, combat game. But it's like, it's a turn-based JRPG, kinda, the combat. Think like Persona or Final Fantasy, except when you choose what kind of attack you're going to do, you have to do specific controller prompts in order to do a critical hit, or when the enemy is going to attack you, you can press one of two button prompts to either dodge the attack, or like block against the attack, or do a super block, or whatever the hell it's called, and damage the enemy that's attacking you. It's like a parry. So I think that the combat in this game is addicting. It's so much fun. It's fun to the point where you want to do more combat, but not when it's for those stupid unavoidable encounters with enemies that are way too low of a level. So it's cool. I like the combat. I think it's very engaging. I think it's very well done. And this game, I believe, is the pinnacle of Paper Mario and Mario RPG combat. Love it. I can't say enough good things about it. If you haven't checked it out, if you don't know what I'm talking about, YouTube it. It's really fun. And every attack has its own special button prompt or something that you have to do in order to perform the attack. And some characters' attacks, if you don't get it right, you completely miss. So it's difficult. It adds a level of challenge just to regular combat. So the combat is never boring. And and to go off of the combat, like, I find it very, I don't know, it pleases my OCD. It just makes me happy that the numbers in this game are not so extravagant. And it's I know that I know that Adam Blank over at Remember the Game talks about this, especially with Super Mario RPG and stuff, and I wholeheartedly agree with him. Games like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest and whatever, they hold a special place in my heart. I love them. I will always love them. But sometimes it is annoying when you're doing some form of, combat challenge or anything, and the numbers that you're looking at are just so big you can't wrap your brain around it. It's like, I don't care that I can do 9,999 damage with one hit. I would like to be able to understand and get a really good gauge of what kind of damage I'm doing to a character, because if I'm fighting a character that's got 3,742,000, 217 fucking HP, that is so obscure and I can't keep track of that. Give me an enemy, give me a boss fight that's got 100 HP, and I do 8 damage every time I hit. I can see that. I can wrap my brain around that. I can do quick math and strategize exactly what characters are going to do what attacks, so I can learn the best way to fight that enemy. I think that it's intuitive. It's really fun, it's engaging, it's rewarding, and anybody can do it. Little kids who, like, you think Mario, you think it's a family-friendly title. So you're going to have people of all ages, of all, math ability levels playing this game. You don't want them getting intimidated by such large numbers that they don't want to play the game. So I think the way that Mario does it, where they have, like, even the biggest boss fight in the entire game only has, I think, 150 HP. And that's perfect. It really is. So that's just, I didn't even have that one written down as a like, but that's a love. That's such a great system, and I can't say enough good about it. To move on then, the next thing I have written down as what I like about the game is the art style. I think it's genuinely just fun. I don't know. There's not a lot of lighting, at least not with the original release. It's just such a fun, cute game. It's like everything is just 2D paper, and they really play on that in this game. Like I was starting to say earlier, the way that the world interacts with you, or you can interact with it, it's really, really cool, because, like, there's so many hidden secrets that when you first start playing the game, you don't know what you can do. You don't know what kind of things you're going to be able to do and uncover and see and find. And as the game progresses and you unlock more abilities in the funniest way possible with the curse chests, it's really cool the way that you're able to interact with the world. Like, especially when you unlock Madame Flurry and you're able to blow away the loose paper backgrounds and stuff. Even to this day, like, the few times that I've tried to play through this game, even to this day, that is one of the coolest features in any game, because it makes you want to try everything. I mean, there's certain points where, like, so usually when using that ability, it's pretty obvious where you need to use that ability, because there's, like, a piece of wallpaper, taped up on the back wall of the world, and you see, like, one loose corner kind of folded down. So you're like, oh, okay, let me use Madame Flurry and blow that away, and I uncover a chest or a doorway or whatever. But there's a couple times in the game, especially later on, where there's no loose corner, there's nothing showing that that's where you need to blow. So you kind of just end up walking around the whole game, maybe even just in post-game after you've seen those, but, like, you just kind of walk around the whole place just kind of, like, blowing on everything that might look like it'll lead to something else. And I thought that was really cool, the way that they kind of just, they take all of your expectations and everything that you know about video games, and kind of just turn it on its head and say, nope, now you gotta, just refigure everything out and play with everything. This game, as linear as it may be, but also as open as it may be, there's so much to do, see, and find. It's kind of like playing the original Duke Nukem 3D or something like that. Like, it's just, there's so many secret doorways, or Doom, there's so many secret doorways and things that you can discover that the game doesn't really make obvious to you. So, again, just love that. Love the art style. Think that it's just perfect. The music is the next thing I have written down. And, I have a couple of friends that always go crazy about talking about the music. As much as I love music, I am not someone who studies music. I don't really play music. I try. But I do appreciate it. And the music in this game, it's just, I don't know, everywhere you go in this game. And Nintendo just always seems to knock it out of the park. The music is just so good. When you're in Rogueport, like, it's kind of happy, but at the same time, it's like, that you're in kind of like a dingy area. But then when you go to Petalburg, it's like really happy and nice and, sunny and perfect and somewhere that you would expect to be in the beginning of the game. You go to the Glitz Pit, or you go to, like, that world, and the music is very, like, orchestral, victorious. Like, it's very big, grand music because it's a fighting arena. You would expect it to be themed that way. And then, when you get to Twilight Town, it's very, like, dark and depressing. And, even though the people there are friendly, it just seems very spooky, very eerie. Excuse me, gotta drink more coffee. But just everywhere you go in this world, the theming of it is just perfect, with the art matching the music and just everything. Just you get so engaged with this game. And then, to reiterate, like, even with the combat, like, everything about this game just kind of, like, it sinks its teeth into you, like, so fucking fast. And I found this game pretty hard to put down. Like, I put 36 something hours into this game to beat it. It didn't feel like that. And like I said, I keep going back to it, even now that I'm done. And I usually don't do that. Usually when I'm done with a game, I'm like, whatever challenges were left can stay left because I have other shit I gotta go do. This game, I find it fun, not only because it's on the Switch and I can take it with me wherever, but it's also just so much fun to play. And so yeah, that's... Wow. I gotta breathe. All right. So the next thing I got written down, I'm kind of flying through these, but I wrote down the Glitz Pit, because, even though I already kind of touched base on and went in depth with the fighting mechanics, and I have written down here, like, inventive fights, because it is. I highlighted the Glitz Pit because that is the only place in the game where you're going to find challenges and... Well, actually, I can't say that because you do find it in the Pit of Trials, but the challenges and the fights that you have to go through at the Glitz Pit are much different than the fights that you go through anywhere else in the game. Because, like, anywhere else in the game, you come across respawning enemies. You have to face them all the time, no matter what. Whenever you leave the area, you come back, they're respawned, they're there. The Glitz Pit, however, you're climbing the ranks. You start at, whatever, rank 23 or 19, whatever the hell it is. And you are working your way up to number 1. So you have to fight these other, championship fighters. And you don't really come across them anywhere else in the game. So it's really cool, the fights that you have to go through, and you have to figure them out. And some of them, like, you can't do right off the bat because it plays into the story and you have to flee the fight and then uncover more mystery and stuff like that. But I thought the Glitz Pit was a really fun highlight to the game, and it was the perfect midpoint of the game, because that does come, it's chapter 3. But I don't know, the Glitz Pit took me a while. I had fun with it. It was a really cool part. If you haven't played it, go play it. If you have played it, you know what I'm talking about. I wrote no random encounters. The story is the next thing I have written down as my list of likes. So I think it's pretty common in Mario games and Zelda games, like, really, I guess any, like, Nintendo game, you find... like, what is it, the rule of 7? Like, you always have to, you're chasing the game to unlock 7 or uncover 7 special items, and that'll, lead to the special area unlocked at the end of the game where the special boss is, and then you finish up. But so in this game, yeah, you're chasing the 7 stars, the 7 crystal stars, and which keeps a door locked in the I guess the basement of Rogueport. And this isn't anything spoiler because you uncover this in the first 20 minutes of the game. But I will say, like, without getting into spoilers now, the story is definitely a highlight. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all the NPC interactions and the dialogue and everything throughout the game. I thought it was really fun. After the next one, I'm just going to start getting into spoiler territory. But oh my god, I'm only 35 minutes into this episode. Wow. I feel like I'm just like once I got my train rolling, I'm just vomiting words. But so I guess this will be a little bit of a shorter episode. Anyway, so the next thing I wanted to touch on as what I liked for the game is Luigi. You come across Luigi typically somewhere in Rogueport after each chapter is over. And then once you're done with the game, you can find him up in the top of the hotel in Rogueport. But every time you find him, he's got a new NPC with him. And you're kind of like, who is this person? Like, where did Luigi come from? And so you talk to him, and then every time you talk to him, he's got a new story or a new iteration of his own adventure. And he's chasing 7 pieces of a magic compass. And they're kind of like poking fun at the, like, not algorithm, but God, I can't think of words right now. But they're kind of poking fun at themselves with like how they have their typical story and the layout of their game. And so you talk to him and he's talking about his grand adventure that he's on to find this great treasure and save this princess, and he's doing his own thing, but somehow he always ends up right back where you are. And so you're able to talk to him and get these funny stories. But it's really funny because his stories are so long, and when you talk to him, he makes them sound so heroic and so, whatever, masculine, and but at the same time funny. And then you end up you talk to whoever he's with, like whatever character NPC he's got hanging around with him, and that person kind of debunks everything Luigi says. Like, there's one time where Luigi starts telling a story where he's like, oh, I did this grand thing and I was on this, massive adventure and it was so heroic, and this, whatever, I tackled the enemy and did the big thing. And then you talk to the NPC that he's with, and that guy's like, yeah, this guy's kind of crazy and really clumsy, so I'm just here to keep an eye on him. And it's just really funny the way that they have everything, I don't know, the way that they kind of just poke fun at themselves like that, I think is really, really funny. But now we're going to start getting into some spoiler territory with this. So if you haven't played the game, again, I highly recommend you do. If you plan on it, maybe skip this part and go straight to the rating at the end. But if you want to hear it, hang around. Listen to it. I'm just going to take a sip of coffee and we'll get right into it. So, all right, get that over there. Where should I start with this? So, I don't think I really need to explain the story, actually, but I will say that there are a couple of moments. Oh, you know what? Shit. Oh, I totally skipped over this. So the one last thing, I'm so sorry anybody who might have missed this if you skipped. The one last thing I wanted to touch on with my likes is just the fantastic secondary characters. Every one of your, partners that follows you around and helps you and has special abilities, everybody in your roster, I guess you could say, they're so good. They're such flushed out characters, and they all play pivotal roles in the story and the dialogue. I don't know. I just can't highlight that enough. But I'm honestly exhausted, and I think that I'm going to work on just wrapping up the spoilers for this game, and then I gotta sign off and get some sleep because Jesus. But so into spoiler territory, I thought it was phenomenal how after each chapter there was a section where you have to play as Peach in the place where she has been kidnapped to, and that helps to uncover, you know, more of the story, more of why you're doing what you're doing as Mario. And she gets help from this computer, this supercomputer up in the X-Naut's base, essentially. And so you end up doing these little funny missions with Peach, no combat related, just, you know, funny like espionage missions and stuff like that. It's great. And then that is a great way to drip feed information to the character, or to the player, I'm sorry, so that you don't have to try to uncover everything as Mario. It's a really great way to break the pace of the game, and kind of like in game design, studying game design and everything, they tell you how, you know, at the end of each chapter there's got to be, you know, you build up this challenge, and then there's got to be a rest. So it that's where it cuts the pace and allows you to rest as the player in kind of like a danger-free zone where everything's kind of like, maybe you'll solve a puzzle, or maybe you just have some dialogue or whatever. And then right after that, you'll typically have a section as Bowser, where Bowser sections are just funny because Bowser hears about Peach being kidnapped and Mario in search of this treasure well after you've already started looking for the treasure. So in this game, it kind of like takes what Bowser usually is doing, which is being, you know, 2 steps ahead of Mario and being the primary villain, and it completely flips it around, because now Bowser is always a step behind Mario, and he's fumbling his way through the entire game, through the entire story, and it's really funny because the dialogue options of or the dialogue of Bowser showing up to every town right after Mario has finished in there, it's hilarious just watching what happens and watching the interactions. And then there's a couple of parts where you get to play as Bowser in sort of like a 2D classic Mario sort of platforming level, but except you're as Bowser and you're just tanking your way through everything. You can't take damage. Like you go from, in this game, you go from Mario, you know, doing the build up of challenge to then an instant cut in the tension to now you're playing as Peach, and that's your rest moment, to now you're playing as Bowser, which is like a reward for all the struggle that you just went through, and it's allowing you to just god mode your way through the game. And then once you're done with that section, it puts you back as Mario, and it allows you to, you know, work on the next chapter. So the way that this game does its pacing through the story and everything surrounding these 3 characters specifically, it's fantastic. I mean, this is a masterclass in storytelling, really, and as well as game pace. So I highly recommend it. But I don't really have much else to say on the story of the game. I will say this. The final boss of this game, I have seen multiple times on a lot of top 10 lists on YouTube, because I'm subscribed to certain channels like Game Ranks and Watch Mojo and stuff like that, and I watch a lot of the gaming content that they come out with, where they talk about, you know, top 10 best boss fights or top 10 hardest boss fights, or, you know, whatever. And I have multiple times throughout the years seen the final boss from Paper Mario Thousand Year Door pop up on those lists as most difficult or most time consuming. And I could definitely see that. If you don't really know what you're doing in terms of combat in this game, like, I could see myself having a lot of difficulty with this as a kid, because I was able to beat it first try now as a 27-year-old, but at 8 years old, I could definitely see myself having an issue with this. It is challenging. If you're not prepared for it, it's even more challenging. So, like, if you don't have enough health items, if you just kind of expect yourself to go into this boss fight like any other encounter or any other boss fight in the rest of the game, you're going to have a hard time. I think I also had a leg up on it because I've seen it on those lists. I kind of knew what was coming. but it's been a while since I've seen one of those lists, so for the most part, it was pretty spoiler free for me. I just knew that there was a big challenge coming up the end, so I made sure to do a little bit of extra grinding, a little bit of extra leveling before I went into that challenge, and it was honestly a fucking awesome boss fight. It was really cool. So what I did to beat the boss fight, and I will say this, just if, in case you happen to listen to this episode and you maybe are struggling with that, I'll tell you my strategy. So I used your ghost sidekick Vivian, I believe her name was. I can't remember. I'm so shot right now. But I used her as my combat partner throughout the entire fight because she has the special ability to be able to pull Mario into the shadows to avoid the enemy's attacks for one round. Now, you got to be really careful with that because as soon as you come back up after the enemy's attacks, it's their turn to attack again. But there are times where a character or the enemy will charge up and you know that their next attack is going to be like, 10 times the damage, and this final boss already hits like a brick wall. So it's a tough fight, but if you're able to strategize using Vivian well, and if you have Mario leveled up and doing enough damage to the point where you're able to do like 8 or 9 hits per attack, you will be okay, because the enemy can also heal themselves and there are multiple rounds to this fight. So that was my strategy. That's really it. I mean, to give a play-by-play breakdown of the fight, I can't remember it that well. And that's not to say that it's not a memorable fight. It is. But I'm just, like I said, exhausted. So my memory is just evading me. But I know that I did a lot of jumping. I did a lot of flower attack. I would do the power smash, or not the power smash because that's with the hammer. But if you play the game, you know what I'm talking about with the spiky boots. I would do that because that is a guaranteed one hit 9 attack, or like 9 damage attack if you have all the badges equipped for like extra attack damage and all that. And then with Vivian, I would punch with her, and if you time it right, you set the enemy on fire and it does burn damage for like 3 turns. But then when the enemy would charge up, I would take Vivian and drop into the shadows, let the charged attack go through, which would pretty much be like an instant kill if you didn't do that, and then you're good to do another round of attacks. But yeah, that's really it. That's all I really got to say for this episode. I thoroughly enjoyed this game. I thought it was a phenomenal game, and I wouldn't be opposed to playing through it in another couple of years, maybe when I've forgotten some about it. But highly recommend. As a rating for this game, I'm going to say out of the 7 crystal stars, I'm going to give this game a solid 6. 6.5. 6.5. It's a good 6.5. It's a good 6, and then one of those fake stars that Bowser breaks because it's fake, so it breaks in half. So I'm gonna give it 6 crystal stars and a Bowser star because I don't know. It's a great game. It's got that Nintendo polish. It's so good. There's like no glitches in it whatsoever. The music is fantastic. The art style is fantastic. The gameplay, the combat, it's all so much fun. For me, I don't know. There's just something about it that just loses a couple of points. I don't know if it's the fact that, yeah, there were times in the game where I felt it was just dragging on a bit too long. Like, I feel like this game could have been done in 5 stars. Maybe you didn't need to do every thing. Like, I don't know. Maybe you could have skipped the island sequence, if you know, with the pirates. But I thought it was great. I give it a 6.5. It's a great game. Go check it out. If you don't have the means to buy it or play it, maybe YouTube it. I know that there's playthroughs out there. You'll enjoy yourself. It's a fun one. But that's really it. And so I will end this podcast now by saying, if you enjoyed this episode, please like it, give me a rating on Spotify. I'm trying to build those up. I very much appreciate it. Share it with your friends, and give a like, a follow, subscribe, whatever you got to do. I don't know. I just like doing this. I don't care. I'm not gonna force anybody, but God, I'm just rambling now. So anyway, yeah. Again, thank you everybody for all your support. I really do appreciate it, and congratulations again to Albertina for winning the T-shirt giveaway. I will be reaching out to you to get you hopefully on an episode of the show, and we will talk your favorite game, as well as I will be reaching out to give you your T-shirt. So, till next time, thank you all so much. I think this is over. Good night.